So we're nearing the end of 2024 and I'm making my last art doll of the year and thinking about what direction I want to take my art next year. And I thought, why not try something completely different from the button-eyed dolls I've been making for the last 14 years and have a go at hand painting the doll face. I have no idea what I'm doing, so let's get into it and see what happens. I've started by outlining the features in pencil just to make sure I get everything symmetrical. I'm painting the whites of the eyes in some titanium white acrylic, which is a nice opaque white. I'd always use titanium white for fabric where I want solid coverage. Mixing white is way too transparent for this. I would usually add the face to my dolls quite late in the process, after I fix the head to the body. But as I'm not quite sure how this one's going to work, I'm painting the face before I do anything else. That way, if it all goes wrong, I can just make another head. It's actually making it a lot easier to work on like this. Staying with acrylics for the pupils, this is Mars Black, which is a soft black shade. I mostly use System 3 acrylics, which as far as I'm aware are all vegan friendly. You can use a bit of fabric medium to make the paint more flexible, but as I'm just painting small areas and the doll is stiff stuffed and isn't intended to be washed, I haven't bothered adding a medium this time. I've just thinned the black with a little bit of water and it's going on fine. I want a nice bright green for the irises. I didn't want to go out and buy a whole tube of green just for this tiny area, so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to experiment with the Inktense pans. I'm going to try mixing a few of the different Inktense shades with some white acrylic and see what colours we can achieve. It's actually mixing really well. That green's coming through lovely and bright. I'm going to try this yellowy green first as a base, then I can build up some depth with the deeper greens. The skin fabric is a silver grey quilting cotton. I didn't want it to look too white, but I still want a ghostly pallor. I think the eyes are going to stand out nicely against this shade. These colours are so vivid, they remind me of owl eyes. I'm using ChromaFlow pencils to shade around the eyes. I don't have a fixed idea of how I want the shading to look. I'm just going to keep building it up and blending until I'm happy with it. I like the precision you can get with coloured pencil. You could probably get the depth of colour far quicker with something like pastels, but I find on fabric you have to be so careful with pastels or they smudge and go all blotchy. Coloured pencil might take a bit longer, but it's a lot easier to control, so you get the shading exactly where you want it. If you're enjoying this video, by the way, please don't forget to hit the like button and let me know. You can also subscribe if you like so you don't miss the next one. Eyebrows and noses are parts of the face I've rarely included on my cloth dolls. I know some people can find dolls without them a bit uncanny valley. I kind of like them that way, but I'm curious to see how one of my dolls would look with a full face. I'm using Derwent's line maker pens for all the line work. I will put some links to the materials I use in the description. I've always found noses a bit odd looking. I don't think I've ever looked at a nose and thought, that's a really pretty nose. They're just kind of there, sitting in the middle of the face. I had no idea how to make a cute looking nose, so I tried a few different styles on paper and came up with this little upturned shape. I really didn't think it was going to work at first, but once I've added some highlights in white acrylic, it seemed to fit in with the rest of the face, so I'm going to stick with it. She has this kind of sad, disillusioned look in her eyes, so I'm going to give her a sad mouth to go with it. I am going to add a few more details to the face. You'll see those later in the video. The head is attached to the body with a button joint. I use a strong upholstery thread for this. The thread is anchored between a button on the middle of the back and another one on top of the head. The tension between the two buttons holds the head in position, so it's nice and secure, but it can be tilted to either side without pulling the thread too tight. Now, I really should have painted the boots on earlier before I jointed the legs, but I got carried away with painting the face and totally forgot about the feet, so I'm just going to have to be extra careful not to get splodges of paint on the rest of the doll. I'm using some waxed linen thread for the boot laces. I've marked out the holes with the sewing needle. Now it's just a matter of lacing them up. I was just going to go with black bamboo roving for the hair, but I found this pale green bamboo that I think will really bring out the green in her eyes. So I'm going to add some streaks of that towards the front. As usual, I'm needle felting it all in with the Clover pen style tool and 3 38 gauge needles. I must admit, it's a lot easier when you don't have to work around the knots and stitches for the button eyes on the back of the head. I keep stabbing at it with the felting needles until it holds firmly to the head. Some of the loose fibres will shed when it's brushed out, but once the fibre's felted in, it is pretty strong. I'm going to keep the hairstyle quite simple for this one. Bamboo fibre is quite fine, so I'm layering it on quite thickly to make sure there's enough body to cover all the roots without it looking lumpy. I've named this little one Temperance Wormwood. If you're planning to start doll making in 2025, you've probably got a lot of questions, so check out this video for answers to the doll making questions I get asked most, and I'll see you next time. Bye!